Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is another scene for the Camarilla and Anarch venue, where the Anarchs are coming together as Mr. Drahoslav Bartoš has invited them to his haven at the request of Mole, because Mole would like us to form a gang. So Mr. Bartoš will invite people to his haven, which is in the theatre district, well within Anarch domain. It's in the iconic clock tower near Times Square, and it's towards the top floor, and it encompasses quite a large portion of the upper floor, several rooms, quite extravagant, most of which doesn't have anything in it at the moment. The rest of it is decorated. When you walk in, it will be like walking out of the modern nights and into the 1920s. He very much enjoys the Art Deco style. So, we shall begin.
Then I will assume that Hotaru, as usual, is serving as a chauffeur.
That's right.
And thus we'll, presuming parking has been provided, we'll park there. If not, we'll find a place.
There is underground parking at the building, yes.
How fortunate.
You will have been given access.
Then yes, she'll park there. That seems like a good place to park. We'll get
So
out,
nice.
open the door for herdometer, bow as he gets out of the car. And go for it.
Do we gotta get buzzed in, or is there somebody we gotta talk to?
That's a good question. So there will be, from the downstairs car park, because you have to be a resident or guest of a resident from the downstairs car park, there will be a lift, and in this building the lifts go to, because everybody pretty much owns the floor that they're on, the lift doubles up as a bell for getting into the building. And you will know from your communications that it will be floor 14. And conveniently, next to floor 14, it actually has the name Mr. D.B.
Wow, that's so fortunate. And do we need to ring up just to be polite?
We click the button, which probably serves as a call button.
Yes, let us click the button to be on our way up.
Cool. So you click the button, and some really pretentious music begins, and then the music stops, and a voice comes over the tannoy. Felicine, have I pressed the right button this time? Can you hear me?
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Is that Doug?
That is me.
Excellent. Come on up. Felicina, press the right button this time. You can hear in the background that there's a lot of music going on. Some of it modern, but it seems to be a modern take on some old jazz classics. As after he finishes speaking, the doors to the elevator will open, and you may step in.
And as is the norm, Hotaru will precede him through the doorway, take a moment to essentially, quote, clear, glancing either direction, and then glance back to encourage him to follow.
He will walk in with his arms held out, like, hey, how y'all doing today?
So the elevator is... there's a couple of other people in the elevator, and they look at you a bit confused. The elevator doors will close.
Oh, I thought the button would be inside. My bad.
Sorry, it's my bad for failing to do the description correctly. But there we go. The button was on the outside. You've pressed it, and the lift is going up now.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Addendum. So, you proceed upwards. The lift doors open, and you are greeted with a large open-plan lounge. 1920s Art Deco style. There's some lounges, some kind of leather sofas of a dark brown in the middle. There are several very beautiful appearance 3, appearance 4 men and women scattered around the room, and sat on the sofa, seemingly having just, because you're vampires and of a vampire society, it's clear he's just partaken of a little snack, is Mr. Bartoš. And as soon as he clocks you, he'll stand up and he'll go, "Ah, my guests! Finally, some people with sense in this godforsaken city."
And Hotaru will proceed out the door again.
We'll do it right this time.
Yes, she will again. Step first out of the door, glance to either side, and then smile back before taking on a more stony appearance, propping her little parasol on her shoulder, and just kind of following at his heel.
Yeah, he'll walk out, take a look around. Hey, what's going on today?
Not much. This party is it's just a cover for us meeting based on Mole's business. Don't worry about most of these people in this room. They are either drunk, drugged, or persuaded to look the other way. He gives kind of a sheepish grin on that.
I mean, hey, what a better way to, go through life sometimes.
So, how have you been finding your time here? Have you met the prince yet?
No, I haven't met any of the Blue Bloods.
I was.
I met a hound. I did meet one of the hounds.
I have made an effort to meet both the sheriff and the prince. Of course, the pretentious prick decided that he was going to send his son instead. Very much like Clan Ventru. That's probably why sometimes I'm a pretentious prick. Damn it.
The tiniest little smirk happens and then is wiped away.
Please take a seat, and your comrade may also take a seat, as she needs to continue that stony appearance, because I can promise you the most dangerous thing in this room is probably you two. And unless you're going to attack yourselves, you've got nothing to be afraid of.
You know how us gangrels are.
I don't know, I suppose the bourgeois tend to attack each other more than gangrel.
That's if they can figure out what they need to fight.
That's very true. Dear me. So, I'm really not used to this apartment yet. One of these places has my office in it. I'm gonna go in this direction. He starts walking across the room, opens the door, and then he goes, "Nope, that is the kitchen. Must be in this direction." And then he walks across. He looks clearly like most rich people or people with a lot of money seem to carry themselves in a particular way. He's very much throwing that to the wind right now. It's like he feels actually at home with you guys here, rather than as may have appeared at other dealings. And he skips. He kind of not skips, but it is quite a jolly trip across the lounge, energized trip across the lounge to the correct door, which he will open, and he'll go, "Aha! This is my study. If you'd like to follow me, we'll discuss the business, and then we can partake of refreshments if you like."
Of course, and he will skip right along after you.
Hotaru will have at some point dropped her eyes to the floor because it means she can bow her head and hide the grin. And she'll compose herself and keep pace with her dominator. Perhaps not skipping.
So, once you're
Oh.
inside his study, you'll see it's pretty sparse. It's got bookcases either side, and then a huge bay window that overlooks Times Square. There's a ornate oak desk, but on top of it, looks like a bomb's hit it. There is absolutely no organisation to it at all. In the corner, looking out the bay window, is a very beautiful woman. She's probably between 30 and 40 years of age. She's got appearance 4. Drahaslav will walk up to her, touch her on the shoulder, and she'll look over towards him, and he'll look her directly in the eye and say, Felicine, you may go and enjoy the company of all those peoples whose names I have already forgotten. I'll call you if I need you. She doesn't seem to speak, and she will kind of smile and bow her head at the pair of you as she walks on by. She has a catwalk, a model's walk, and she will close the door behind her. You'll notice that as she leaves the room, Drahoslav follows her until the door, with his eyes, until the door is closed. And then he will kind of give a relaxed sigh. Please take a seat. Well, if you're going to take it, at least bring it back.
I see what you did there.
I have my moments. So, who's met Mr. Splain?
I haven't met him, but I heard he likes running off at the mouth.
He certainly does like running off at the mouth. He's taken a particular dislike to me because I am an Anarch Rave. He does the bunny rabbit ears with his fingers. But he also seems to talk shit. But I haven't seen any of this in action yet. So I'm thinking, like we Anarchs do, we should possibly...
Kind of robotic there. What happened? What?
So I was thinking what we should do is, for the greatness of the city, obviously, but what we should do is we should form a gang, like Anarchs do in other cities. Mole would appreciate it, and then we can use this gang of me and you and possibly this Warren Langley fella, if I can ever meet him. And we can... Okay now?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So, and we could go after, first of all, to teach a lesson to Mr. Splain. Obviously within the confines of the tradition, because right now we don't have the numbers to really kick off.
I mean, I don't know, like, you know, just killing it would be just so tacky.
And if people would,
But
well, you know what? I will make you roll for it. Mention of Spillane and questions about meeting him will have provoked another tiny smirk.
Mr. Bartosh will look towards... what was your name again, sorry? Character's name?
Hotaru. Yume Hotaru.
Yume Hotaru. He'll look towards her, and he will also smirk, and he will, talking to her directly, just say, in these walls you can talk. You know, you may be, I'm assuming, a ghoul, but I don't give a shit about decorum. If I gave a shit about decorum, I'd still be in the ivory tower.
oh, touche.
A glance will be given to her odometer, kind of a questioning, you know, a glance for permission, as it were.
Of course.
And depending upon how big whatever he's sat upon is, she's either sitting on it alongside him or will, like, no shit, just flop in his lap because, goddamn it, she can.
See, Mr. Bartosh will smile and say, see, this is how it should be. You should just be able to do what the fuck you want.
That's right. Fucking A.
Unfortunately, we have to play certain games with other members of this society, but the games we play is for the greater good, for the freedom.
In that case, I can say that I met Mr. Spillane at the same time that I met Emily.
Oh no, I did meet Emily the other night. She's in my notebook.
Yep, she's the one I met.
I had gone in search of a gym, and it was perhaps getting a bit later than I appreciated. I'm normally home by time people are stirring, but
Is this one of Splane's gyms or Emily's gyms?
it is Emily's gym, but Mr. Spillane was there, and trying to make a bit of a show of himself. I listened to him talk for a while.
He's a lot of talk. But I'm guessing that's why we need to strike out at him. To show him that anarchs can't be pushed around.
He has a mobster's bluster.
I mean, if he likes to talk, all you gotta do is just sit back and listen.
He does. And I can. I think he's taken a shine to me.
That will be most
Oh,
useful. So I've already started
Let's
making some moves. I'll let you know. I have a few. Well, let's just say I know a lot of the rich and powerful in New York. Got a little bit of sway over them, thanks to the beautiful Felicine and my business. And I've started spreading rumors about his beloved frames, about hygiene and food safety, because mortals really do like to eat and drink. And I've recommended that maybe to some certain politicians, maybe it should be shut down on some health and safety violations. Wouldn't be something permanent, but, you know, it would really piss him off. I'd like to think it would really piss him off anyway.
I mean, that's the best way to do it. Just go after things he likes the most.
Which brings me to my next point. I've got my other ghoul. I have two, by the way. That's Felicine. If you ever need me, you can probably find her and ask her. I've got another ghoul. His name's Marcel. He's a... What do they call them? Those legal type people. Lawyer. He's a lawyer. So he's a lawyer. And I've got him building a little file on the movers and shakers within the Irish Mafia in Manhattan. What I'm thinking is, well, I've heard you guys aren't afraid to get your hands dirty. I would get my hands dirty if I didn't think I would do more damage to myself. I'm thinking if we can
I have no
find...
problem.
Sorry, you continue.
No, I was going to say I have no problem getting my hands wet.
Because I'm
Charlie was
thinking...
decidedly amused.
I'm thinking if we find some movers and shakers within the Irish Mafia, we could just maybe have them have a few accidents here and there. So in a perfect world, his bar gets shut down for a little bit on health and safety violations, and then members of his beloved Irish Mafia start falling, dropping like flies. And then when he starts to get really riled up, and that mobster bluster disappears from his smirk little lips, we stop. And we move on to play a game with someone else.
I mean, that works with me. I mean, he's not really worth the whole going to the extremes.
Exactly. Let's just have a little fun with him. As for the other part, Do you know about the Convention of Thorns? As Mole, have you had a chance to meet Mole?
Oh, I've met Maul, and yes, he's reminded me about the Convention of Thorns.
Excellent. So, I would suggest, within this room, which is absent of both Camarilla and Mole. Not saying that Mole is a bad person, because he is clearly a legend. What are your feelings on the Convention of Thorns?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to hold on to something that was written, I don't know what, 900 years ago.
Exactly. So I'm thinking, for now, we play the game. We do our things as anarchs. We help the city. In fact, most of the time, considering how inept everyone's been in this city recently, I wouldn't be surprised if we could do a better job.
Oh, I believe so.
Because they let hunters run amok for nearly 2 months. This new sheriff, though, she could be a bit of a ball ache.
Hotaru will perk up a bit come the mention of the hunters, and knit her brow faintly. Wasn't it Spillane who said that he knew so much about the hunters?
Yeah,
Did he? I don't know.
I believe that the sheriff went and solved the hunting problem without him, from what I've heard.
Oh, this is true, but the meeting that I attended, you remember I came back and told you about it. I could have sworn that it was Spillane who popped up and said that he knew much about who was where when it came to the hunters, which
Yeah,
is a perfectly good premise for me to go and meet with him.
this is true. But then also, he gave that information to the sheriff, so the sheriff now knows that.
No, that's fine.
I mean, I've got a business deal with the sheriff now, so at least as a gang, as anarchs in the city, we can have someone who can talk to the sheriff without her being, what's the best way of putting this? Bourgeois. And punching my face off. So I like my face, but there's absolutely no way I could avoid her punching my face off if she didn't like me.
I merely meant to call back to my offer to be of some service as someone who's still breathing. I don't know how well they can perceive such things, but I imagine that I can get much closer to them. And I am sure that with that as a premise, I can spend more time around Spillane, learn more, hear more. He does like to talk.
Learn more about it. Yes. I like this. If it's okay with your friend. He looks at Doug and smiles.
I am all for it.
How are you guys for money?
Uh-huh. The fuck is this resource?
Because being and he cocks his fingers in a bunny rabbit, I'm pretty sure this is how you use it. Blue blood and owning a multinational company, I can help bankroll our Anarch moves within New York, and I have no problem doing so.
Huh. Well, I mean, I'm not really known for rolling around in cash, but if you want to.
Rolling around in cash actually costs more than you would think. First of all, you got to go to the bank, you got to draw out enough cash to roll around in. Then you got to put it in a room. Then you got it's just too much hassle. So, but if you need anything, you just give me a shout, and I will do my best to make it happen. And if I can't make it happen, I'm sure I can find someone who will do it.
Well,
Consider
I appreciate that.
Like the anti-Ventru, and he raises his hands up in a mock kind of godly fashion, whilst overlooking New York out of his bay window. Or as the prince's son so politely put it last night, a bourgeois who thinks he's an anarch.
Wow.
It was for such an insult, I was hurt. So hurt. If my heart had feelings. If it still beat. I mean, I have feelings, honestly. I will
believe you would say so.
point out as well, if you ever meet me around the Camarilla, as I'm sure Hotaru had noticed the other evening, I do put on a bit of a persona. It's better to play the game around them than to lose all manner of assistance. Until, of course, New York goes free, which may or may not happen in the future. I would say that was probably my dream. Might not be Mole's, but what are we? Well, we're definitely not anarchs if we don't have dreams, right?
That's correct. Better
So,
fight for than nothing at all.
well, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. If you guys got anything you want to talk about?
No, I think we're all.
Well, if I had one of those Judge Havel things, I would totally bang it now to say meeting adjourned and be all blue-bloodish, but I don't have one of those, so let's just go and get drunk, or drink, or both. And then he will move around his desk, move towards the door, and open it to the party outside.
Are we going to skip out there?
No, I'm not skipping this time. I don't feel as joyous. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
He doesn't skip this time, but less jovial, but still energized. He makes his way into the room.
And Hotaru will exit Douglas's lap so that he can rouse and follow.
That's right. We'll walk out and have a little party.
Superb. So, as I say, most of the room is filled with males and females, parents 3, 4 plus. Mr. Bartosh will come up to you and he'll start pointing around the room and he'll be like, if you want that one, you can have that one. If you want that one, you can have that one. You can't have that one because she's my acquired taste and I am very picky about my vintage. You could possibly have him and maybe him, but I wouldn't have her. She tastes foul and she's been drinking all night. He's pointed to some woman who's kind of crouched over in a corner. Other than that, you are either free to eat or free to go. There'll be plenty more time in the following nights for us to enjoy each other's company. Maybe I'll even invite Mr. Splain for a little shindig. Although saying that, I don't want to get ash on my carpets.
This time she snickers audibly.
If you guys are interested, I learned that Mr. Splain and the Irish mob, a lot of their dealings are around the docks. So if you want to cause some havoc, that would be the place to do it. And of course frames, which I've started work on.
He did inform me that that was his personal domain, but things being as they are, I doubt it is anymore.
This is true. I don't think it's been gifted back to him, actually.
Hmm.
I think Mole was... The only reason Mole retained his domain, which is the Anarch domain, is because he played the Boon game. The Boon game. I really don't miss it.
I mean,
as
sometimes
usual.
throw their weapons right back in their face.
And at that point, Hotaru will turn a glance around to Douglas and say, "Would you be pleased if I were to earn you a boon from Spillane? After all, I cannot hold them myself."
If you think you can do that,
I'm
by
quite
all
sure I
means.
can, given enough time.
You know what we should also do? We should also work it. And he kind of grabs one of the women from the room and starts tangoing with them. Is we should try and get him to do the one thing he would absolutely despise. We should try and entice him into owing a boon to the Anarchs. A boon that any one of us could call in. The people he despises. Oh, that would be beautiful. I envy
would.
Mole in that regard because he got the prince to give him a boon, so, fair play to him.
And just make sure it's publicly known that he owes
The
the
Anarch.
Anarchs for something.
Yes, definitely. If we play it right, we start messing with his influences. Rather than just leaving it, we then help him get them back in exchange for the boon. And Hotaru here can spy on him throughout the entire game. It's perfect. It's like the plan fell into
I
our
like
lap.
it.
Of course, we must respect the traditions as they have been laid down by our... fuck it. Just respect Masquerade. The other ones we can get out of if we try.
And she'll take a moment to glance back and forth between them. What should I be leery of him being capable of,
Well,
potentially?
you are not a kindred, so that's always something to be wary of straight away.
Well, of course. But I mean as far as the things that you all are capable of that I am not.
Well, he's one of my clans, so he's probably a tough son of a bitch, and you're a ghoul, so he can probably play with your mind.
How drastically?
Well, you are bound to swear, and I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I would assume you might have a chance of resisting it, but I wouldn't want to put my money on it. I mean, I could test it now on you, but I don't want to do that because I'm in a room full of friends. I say I'm in a room full of friends. I've pretty much dominated everyone in this room. But...
She'll glance to Douglas to see if he'll give permission, if only because she's curious and wants to be prepared.
No, he'll shake his head no.
Okay.
He doesn't like the idea of anyone invading someone's mind like that.
Are there things that I should be wary of then, like eye contact?
Yes. Don't make eye contact with him.
And he will have noted, of course, that she actually this entire time has failed completely to make direct eye contact with him. It's like it's a thing she already does.
Excellent. In which case, if that's the case, he will say, don't make eye contact with him, like you have managed to successfully do through this entire conversation with me, which I find entirely rude. How disgusting of you to avoid making eye contact with someone who could play with your mind.
She'll smile faintly. But yes, he'll realize she's always looking either a bit above, a bit below, or just in his general direction, never directly at the eyes.
You have to make sure though. He kind of turns serious all of a sudden. You know, you have to make sure, however, that you are prepared for the games that he can play with you. Because playing with the mind, he points to his head, it's not the only trick we have up our sleeves. One, we're tougher than a lot of clans, which I'm sure as a gangrel you can probably appreciate because you have that same ability.
That's correct.
And two, we have the power of... I like to call it the power of polite persuasion. Most people call it presence, but polite persuasion and charisma are certainly better words for it. Because I don't want to walk into a room and use my presence. I want to walk into a room and use my charm that is slightly augmented by my supernatural being.
I can understand being leery of having one's mind explored. But when it comes to charm, and she'll kind of gesture over to her Domitor, I don't imagine that my loyalty is something that is easy to shake.
When it comes to the supernatural powers of kindred, never be too sure. Always be prepared. Worst case scenario, throw yourself out a window. That's what that happened once.
Were my loyalty not also... I would not be, were my loyalty not also a supernatural effect, at least in part.
Ah, the blood bond. How joyous it is. Isn't it, Felicine? She smiles, but she doesn't really act in response. She seems to be enjoying her wine.
If worse comes to worse, I carry a knife.
Which would cause a little sting.
I meant for myself.
Ah, I like your thinking. Although I'd appreciate if you didn't die. You know,
I would rather not.
now. Well, if you do die, I'd kind of like it to be us die, not die. God, there had to be too many ways to die in this world. Like there's us die, and then there's ghosts die, and then there's like dead. Man. God, this world is fucked up. I need a drink. Melissa! He just points to some random girl and she saunters over. She's appearance 4+. And he'll kind of stroke her down the side of the neck and then take her in like a tango bow, very obviously feeding off of her. He'll raise her back to her feet and be like, ah, that's better.
Hotaru is quite amused.
Anyway, this party's probably going to go on all night. You're more than welcome to stay. I don't think I have anything else to do. I mean, I could probably do most of what I want to do tomorrow, or the day after, or the day after that, or the day after that. Oh, wait a minute, I better not do it in the day, I'll burn. The night, or the night after that. You're more than welcome to come by anytime. You know the lift now, and that pass that I gave you will get you into the underground parking continuously. It's not just a one-off.
Excellent.
I will warn you, though, it's not always a party here. Sometimes I have cleaners.
Throws his hands up like, I ain't seen shit. I don't know shit.
Hotaru will, in fact, snicker, because that's just silly.
So, have a good evening. Enjoy whatever it is you enjoy.
You as well.
God, I don't know how the Ivory Tower managed to survive on all the pompous etiquette that they go through. Please, enjoy sucking the blood out of my life. Please, enjoy sucking the politicians away. Please, enjoy fucking with my backgrounds. Sorry. I really, really hate my clan. But I digress. You may go. Why am I letting you go? You could go if you want to go anyway. I am drunk. These people are drunk, and I have drank from them. I am drunk. He will collapse into the sofa with a very satisfied smile on his face. And a couple of the models will fall into his lap.
I think we can stay for a little while.
Excellent. Just remember that my office is over there, not over there, and the kitchen is there, but not over there.
Understand.
He'll then raise his hands and clap, and the lights will dim a little bit.
Oh, that's kind of awesome. He's going to clap his hands.
Cool, and the lights will open up again. And he'd be like, see, that's the problem with the clapper. I don't understand why Philistine had it fitted. Because sometimes when I celebrate things, I clap. He'll clap, and then the lights will dim again. And then that happens. And it's really problematic when you're trying to get stuff done.
Oh, goodness.
You can turn it off, apparently, but I have no idea how to turn anything in this house off. Apparently, I can go into the kitchen and ask the fridge to give me milk, and it would give me milk. Not that I can drink milk anymore, but the concept is there.
Holy shit.
I mean, the other day, have you met Father O'Byrne? Yet?
No.
Well,
wait, we have priests?
well, he's dead. He's a bourgeois. He seems to be maintaining a great deal of his humanity. He was great to talk to. I mean, I learn a lot from the guy. And I will probably continue to have meetings with him to learn a lot more. But anyway, I digress. So, I rang him from the car. But get this, I was just talking to the car. And he was hearing what I was saying through his phone. I just don't get it.
I don't know. Wow, I'm impressed.
Technology these days.
Right?
It's called Bluetooth.
So, Bluetooth. What has it got to do with teeth?
Absolutely.
Is it on your
nothing.
mouth?
Is that how you talk? So, wait a minute. Is it fitted in my mouth? Is that why I was?
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
No, it is certainly not fitted in your mouth.
Okay.
Was it a tooth?
You ask these things like any sort of labels make sense. Products are rarely actually named after what they are. It is called Bluetooth. I don't know why, but it is.
Like this Wi-Fi that gives me access to the world wherever I am.
Wi-Fi?
Oh, the interwebs.
Oh, goodness.
Exactly. I pick up the computer. I'm slowly getting used to it, actually. Felicine has been brilliant when it comes to the internet. I now know that the on button turns the computer on.
Great strides.
If I type my name into Google, nothing comes up, and that's the way it should remain, because if it does come up, that means I have breached the masquerade.
That sounds... Well, no, because perhaps you are holding your fancy dinner parties and people are commenting on that fact, believing you to be normal.
Well, you see, I don't actually hold fancy dinner parties for most people. And if I do, Felicine holds those parties, and I just refer to myself as Mr. Bartosh. Sometimes I come up with other interesting names. Most of the time I refer to that as Mr. Bartosh, and I'm just a guest because I'd rather maintain. I mean, I was embraced in 1921. I've been around for a long time. People would probably start to ask questions as to why I do not look like a 98-year-old man.
Holy
Actually, at
shit.
this point, I'd be 112.
You haven't changed your name that entire time.
No, because you just use other people as your intermediaries. Plus, you would be surprised how many humans fall for the, yes, I share my grandfather's name. So many people fall for it.
Why shouldn't they?
But do most people actually do that? Why would you share the name of your elders? I
Well,
just
I
don't
would
get
take
it.
it as ego.
That's true. Maybe I should have shared my sire's name. Wait a minute, not a Ventru. I'm a bourgeois pretending to be a Ventru.
And finally, Hotaru will make a point of looking him up and down, and then give her head a slight shake. Certainly not.
No, I really couldn't pass as a bourgeois. Probably if I punched anything, I'd definitely hurt myself more than, yeah. I don't know, I might be alright if I punch, like, a dog or a cat.
Why
But
would you punch a dog or a cat?
I
Hotaru
don't
will
know, I
make a
really
point
don't
of
want to
like
deal.
holding a hand up, like, no, go for it. Make my day.
I don't want to punch a dog or... Well, I could punch a dog or a cat, but then I'd have PETA so far up my ass if they spit's coming out of my mouth.
That sounds painful.
It really does. It's like a good metaphor for the ivory tower, actually.
Kinda is.
I see a running trend with your opinion on the ivory tower.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
They're slave traders and they try to make it sound nice.
Yeah, I know.
Bastards.
Because you got the guys, and then you got the other guys who look over the guys, and then you've got the guy that looks over the guys that look over the other guys. And then you've got the guys that look after the guy that look over the other guys that look over the guys. And then you got a bunch of secretive assholes somewhere in Europe hiding out and pretending to rule the whole fucking thing.
And then someone gets mad because you have something they don't, so they want to hurt you and take it.
Yeah. Although saying that, it is quite fun to hurt people and take stuff. I never said that.
I'm just saying, you know, law of the wild, survival of the fittest.
This is true. But then mortals are kind of like that too.
That is true.
I would be remiss if I said I didn't get all this money and finance by being nice. Oh, Hitari as well. If you do, for any reason, accidentally irk law enforcement, let me know. I have these lawyery people and I have a little bit of pull. Having spent so many years in Paris, though, American law does not make much sense to me. Which I suppose is why I've got lawyers. Anyhow, does anybody want a drink?
Sure, why not?
So Mr. Bartosh will get up and he will go over to his fridge in the kitchen and he will open it and he will get 2 glasses out. He will then put the glasses on the side, walk away from the glasses, grab a girl who's quite spaced out, probably a little bit drunk, and lead her over to the sofa where the two of you are sat. Here. Sorry about the glasses. I'm so used to normal company.
Sorry, I was distracted. What's being offered?
A woman.
That's a pretty good answer. Well, I'm going to leave that to the guy that eats people.
I'll eat some of her, and then I'll feed you some of mine.
It's a feeding party.
Yay!
She practically purrs. It makes her happy.
Excellent. Well, at this point, the party can go on until the wee hours of the morning, unless you have anything else planned. Real
Nope.
Anarch Shindig. Until it's nearly sunup, and then Mr. Bartosh will, should you need it, offer you the spare blacked out room. Should you wish to haven here during the day. If not, he will obviously quite happily lead you out. Slightly more inebriated than he was a few hours ago.
Yeah, let's head out so we can figure out what we want to do.
Like go ham? Yes, very well.
Cool.
And we will
So
thank you for your hospitality.
you will press the button for the lift, lead you out. You will be probably followed by quite a few other people, but mostly, probably not quite a few actually, a spattering of people. The rest of them are all in different states of either undress or unconsciousness within his apartment. And he will lean against the side of the door and he'll say, "Don't die," with a smirk. And then he will stroll off back into his lounge.
All right, and I think we could end it there.
I think we can.